To make the Boho Charm Pendant, we've got a fun collection of findings and charms and things, all in the same antique brass finish. That includes a large ring, a pretty key charm, a leaf charm, a bead cap, 4 large jump rings, and 3 head pins. For beads, we have a milk glass bead that's faceted, rondel, and 2 bicone crystals that are pink. We're going to put all of that on this pretty chain that matches all of our metal here. And for tools, we have round nose pliers, wire cutters, and chain nose pliers. To get started, we're going to turn our beads into beaded dangle components. To do that, we're going to take one of our head pins and we're going to feed on our bead cap so that it's face up like that. Then we're going to add our large milk glass bead that nestles into our bead cap really nicely. And we're going to make a wrapped loop at the top of this bead. To do that, I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to grasp the wire of the head pin just above the bead, make a 90-degree bend in the head pin wire, reposition to the top of that 90-degree bend, pull the wire as far around as I possibly can around the top of the top jaw of my pliers. I'm going to place the bottom jaw of my pliers now into that partial loop and finish pulling the wire around to complete the loop. So you can see I've got a complete loop there. Now to wrap this loop, I'm going to grasp that loop across with my round nose pliers, and I'm going to pull the tail of the head pin around that neck twice like that, and then I'm going to trim. And I'm going to use my flush cutters or my wire cutters and just cut as close as I can without cutting through my work to get my first little beaded dangling component there. And now we're going to do the same thing with our bicones. We're going to take a head pin, slide on a bicone, and then make a wrapped loop at the top of this bicone. Again, I'll use my round nose pliers and do the same exact thing. 90-degree bend, reposition the pliers, wrap the wire around the top jaw, reposition the pliers again, pull the wire around to finish the loop, and then wrap the loop by grasping that loop across with my round nose pliers and then pulling this tail around the neck twice, like that. And then I'll trim. There we go. And I've got a little bit of an end sticking out there, so rather than trying to cut it shorter, I'm just going to use my chain nose pliers and I'm going to just press that end down just so it looks more professional, a little more tidy. And you can always do that with all of your ends when you're done with your whole project. You can go back and look. Also, it kind of doesn't matter. No one's ever really going to be looking at your pendant that much, so don't worry about it. There's our second beaded dangle, and we'll do the same thing to make our last beaded dangle. Once you know how to make a wrapped loop, you can turn just about any bead into a really fun pendant or dangle for an earring, and really, really fast. You can get really fast at it after a while, just once you get the hang of it. Wrap that again, and then we're going to trim like that. And I'm just going to straighten it up a little bit with my chain nose pliers. And that's our second little beaded component. And now what we want to do is start assembling our little dangles using our jump rings. And to do that, I'm going to take one of our large jump rings, and I'm going to open this jump ring. Even though it's big, I'm going to use my normal jump ring technique, which is using 2 pairs of pliers to open it. So I'm going to grab one side of that opening, or one side of the jump ring with the opening at the top, grab my other pliers, and I'm going to press one of the pliers down and pull the other one up, and that's so I don't lose that round shape of my jump ring. I want it to be nice and round. So what I want to do is add one of these beaded dangles onto a jump ring like that. And then I'm going to place that around my ring. And I'm going to close it the same way I opened it using 2 pliers. Just like this. And I'm going to rotate back. And the little end should match up pretty well, which is part of why you want to do it that way. And there we've got our first little dangle on our ring there. Now we want to do the same thing to add our key. And to do that, we're going to use 2 pliers again. Doesn't matter which pliers you use on which side. Open that up. Doing the same thing, rotating like that. I'm going to keep holding this in my pliers because I think that makes it easier to work with. I take my key, feed it onto my jump ring, and then feed on my ring. And then I'm going to close it the same way. You'll see how quickly this goes together. It's fun. It's just a little collection of jump rings and things that we're putting all together to make one really interesting boho pendant. So that's 2 of our beaded dangles on there. Then we're going to open another jump ring using the same technique. You get really good at opening jump rings. And I'm going to hold it in my pliers again. And this time I'm going to add I think I'll do one of the bicones first, then my leaf charm, then the other bicone. The bicones are really there just to add interest, just for fun. Then I'm going to try to remember to put it on the ring. Don't forget to put it on the ring. And then I'm going to close it the same way I did before with the 2 pliers, just like that. And now we've got all of our wonderful beaded dangles on there. Actually, I'm just going to flip that around so that the milk glass bead is in the middle, like that. And there's our fantastic Boho Charm Pendant. Well, now all we need to do is put that onto our chain. And to do that, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing. We're going to open a jump ring using our 2 pairs of pliers, feed on our ring, close the jump ring using the same technique we've been doing all along. Make sure it's nice and matched up there. And now we're just going to open the clasp on our chain here, feed it through our large jump ring, and there is our fantastic Boho Charm Pendant.